you doing? How you getting on? You all right?
Yeah, Dad, I'm good.
Oh, good.
I'm just hanging out. I just been hanging out this morning, and my wife just took the 2 kids out for a little outing to go get some pumpkins. So I'm sitting on the porch drinking some coffee by myself now.
Very nice. Yeah, I've got my coffee here as well, so we're all good.
Yeah, nice, brother. How are you this
Just
morning?
before-
It's probably not morning where you are, huh?
No, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon where we are. So we've got the whole day done so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just getting
kind of
going.
weird. I've been doing yeah. Well, so am I, but it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But that's musicians for you. But
I can't do that with
it's
kids,
it's been on because I've been doing. No, I've got 3 kids. I was up at 6:30 this morning, to be fair. But that's the old me is the getting going. Yeah, it's just the way it is.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to check before we started that I've just been doing just checking it that I've got the right you, because your first album was actually 2009. Is that right?
Yep.
And then you've released One Step this year. Is that right?
That's correct.
Excellent. That's good news, because there's 2 other Jason Walkers.
I know there's a couple other out there. I'm trying to like peg them off. I'm trying to edge them out here and there. So there can be only one, man. But
I had this horrifying thing where I just researched this whole thing and listened to all your music and kind of everything, and then realized that I've been going down the wrong road completely.
That would be amazing. That like hasn't really happened, but like I've had like 1 session or 2 sessions before where somebody was just like, "Oh man, I like this song," and I'm like, "That's not my song, bro."
It's quite interesting the way you've released stuff. So I'm going to get into all of that, because I found that really interesting. And I thought, well, yeah, because sometimes like Spotify and other things can sort of merge profile.
Nice.
All right. In fact, the interview doesn't get much more formal. I'm not going to kid you. Just it's kind of this kind of relaxed thing. So
this is about as formal as I get anyway, man. So that's good.
This is going to go well. I'm loving it. It's perfect. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe, like, and click the bell to be notified of more fantastic music content just like this. Welcome to the Need to Know Music Show with me, Ronan McManus, here on Switchbox TV. And today I'm joined by a pop rock singer-songwriter who's been releasing music for over 10 years now and has a new album out called One Step. It's out this year. Please welcome Jason Walker. How are you, mate?
Hey, man. How you going?
Yeah, I'm good. You're in the beautiful, sunny, where are you now? In Nashville.
We're in Nashville, Tennessee. The street that I live on is actually called Beautiful Valley Drive. It's kind of Stepford
What more can
wise.
you ask for?
It's a little too suburban for my taste sometimes, but it's nice for raising. I've got a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old, and so it's nice for raising kids right now.
Well, so you're right in the middle of that kid thing. My oldest is 16. My youngest is 7. I've got 3. So you're right in the thick of it, man.
I'm just starting my marathon, bro. Yeah, I'm just getting going. But dude, they're so awesome. My little boy's name is Max. He's got blue eyes, looks like his mom, and then my little girl's name is Era, and she's got like more hazel eyes, looks a little more like me. And man, it's awesome. It's a lot of responsibility. I mean, I'm at like I guess you do know, you're in like this whole quarantine situation that we've had this year with 2 kids under 2 has been quite interesting.
That was exactly my next question was going to be. This year's been tough enough, but to have the sort of 2 very active aged children is going to be tough. Have you managed to get any music done in that time?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's really the only thing, and in some ways it's good and bad. Like, because I've kind of switched back and forth through my whole career of like sometimes I'll have a home studio, and then sometimes I'll switch it and have an office somewhere else where I leave home and then I can go kind of check out for a bit and then come back. And so it's kind of forced me over the past couple months to like just have a home studio and be here, and like, which is good in some ways, but then it's distracting in some ways because I love my kids so much, and they come walking by the door. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? I want to say, hey, I want to pick you up real quick and throw you around. So I think pretty soon, like I was going to get a little separate studio going by this year because my little daughter kicked me out of the one I had at home. because she turned 6 months a couple months ago and needed her own nursery. And so I got booted out. So now I've been set up in a closet, like the master bedroom closet. I just went and literally put sheets up on the wall and set up my desk in there. And like, it's kind of like I'm Harry Potter in there, man. Like, I kind of love it though. It's awesome. But for this session, I almost set up in there, but then I was like, maybe it may look a little better if I go outside and have a little better background.
But you've been creating magic in your little cupboard under the stairs.
Honestly, I kind of feel like that, and it's kind of good. Like I get 3 doors of separation where I go into the bedroom and then into the bathroom and then into the closet, and then I close all those doors, and so I'm separated from everybody. And yeah, man, I don't know. I've been doing a lot of Zoom sessions this year and there, and at first I really like when Corona stuff first hit. Like I really didn't want to do Zoom sessions, so I kind of pulled out for a minute, and then I committed to it really hard. And like now, I really like. I'm half. I enjoy having it as something in my tool belt that I can pull out and be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to have this interview if it wasn't for video sessions like this.
Absolutely.
But I feel like lately some of the sessions I start feeling a little bit of that, like, man, I just want to be in the room. I want to catch the vibe together. I want to be able, like, Zoom sessions are very more direct. Like whenever we hop on to write a song on Zoom, it seems to be, you kind of talk for a minute, but then you kind of just get into it. You're like, hey, what are our ideas? Let's write something, And so there's a little less of the, I don't know, wandering road that sometimes you can take to get to a good song.
And we've spoken a little bit in other interviews about the Zoom setup being much more of a back and forth way of songwriting with somebody. And that kind of maybe sort of brings slightly different results than if you could, because you literally can't play at the same time because of the delay. So you've got that delay. Have you found that's been a barrier, or has there been some advantages to that? Or, has it sort of yielded some different unexpected results?
I think it's like most things in life where it's like there's like the yin and the yang. There's like I said, I think it's really good that it stretched the whole industry, and just not even this music industry, but all industries, to like open up the doors to be able to do Zoom or video like calls like this. But it's not something I love to do all the time. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like, and so I do miss the being able to sing with somebody at the same time, harmonize with somebody when they're singing a note, and find that little magic thing. I will say one positive thing is it's taught me to listen a little better, because you can't speak over somebody. You have to kind of wait for somebody to finish talking and actually hear what they're saying. And sometimes my mind just gets going really fast, and I start having thoughts when somebody else is talking, and I might cut them off a little bit. And honestly, it's helped me really well to like listen and then speak after, like, somebody gets done talking.
Yeah, I think it's a completely different thing. I think there's the Zoom thing, and even like video, like not sort of for like the live stream gigs and things like that. It's a different thing. It's not ticking the same box. Do you know what I mean? It's not doing the same job. But I feel like there is a room for it in our lives. It's kind of forced a little space in our lives. Yeah. But there are some advantages to the live stream. Obviously, with have you done a few live stream gigs?
I actually haven't done any live stream. The past couple months, man. Like, so yeah. Once this all hit, I was doing a bunch of Zoom sessions, and just to get into a little bit of personal stuff that's been going on the last couple months, like. I was doing Zoom sessions and just kind of focusing on that. And then in June of this year, my younger brother was killed in a car crash by a drunk driver. He lived here in Nashville with me, and like he was my best friend. We were so close, saw each other all the time. And so that kind of like sent this huge stone into my world, to where I've kind of like, I don't know, I've been reconfiguring everything over the last couple months and trying to like, so I had ambitions, and I did one, actually did one streaming concert. It hasn't come out yet, but I did with this platform called Stable here in Nashville, where we went out to Dark Horse Studios in Franklin, Tennessee here, and had this beautiful background. And so we filmed, I think I did 8 songs with them, but it hasn't come out yet. But that's the only thing, man. It's like I said, it's kind of just been this reconfiguring of like what my life looks like, and what sometimes it's hard to like find the motivation to do certain things, going through like
absolutely.
things.
Absolutely. I'm sorry to hear about your brother. It's a terrible tragedy. I mean, I think a lot of people have been struggling to find things, to find motivation and that kind of thing as it is. Never mind having such a huge life altering thing like that happen. It's so you've all power to you coming back from that, because it's only still recent, very recent, recently happened. So
yeah, it was a couple months back, but man, and it's crazy. It feels like there's been so many people I know that have been in situations like that year, outside of the quarantine things we've all been dealing with. Like it just feels like there's been so many heavy things this year and so much tension, and a lot of people I know have been going through some grief. And so, like, honestly, that's where all of my music has kind of come from. My parents split up when I was 14, and I was playing piano, and like I'd played piano since I was 6 years old. And I when they split up, I went to the basement. We had a piano down there, and I just started writing songs every day, and like chord progressions or melodies or sometimes words. And I love you, I hate you, I'll never forgive you, I want to forgive you, right? And just anything. Like I always loved pouring out that real emotion. It was like therapy for me. Of like, I didn't almost care if it was in it for anybody else, because it was for me, And yeah, man. And so I really love being that voice. And I guess I don't love, being that voice in some ways, but like I love being able to be that voice and being able to walk through grief and be able to pour it out. And I'm working on a project right now that's going to come out in a couple months. That'll just be kind of dealing with loss and dealing with walking through hard times like this.
Well, I think that I mean, I found this losing my parents be 9 years ago now, and I felt like maybe having the sort of songwriting or the musical gift, or whichever way you want to look at it, it's hard work too. But that gift of being able to have an outlet for the tough things that come at you. I find everything goes into the songs. It's a kind of cathartic thing to have that outlet that not everybody has.
Yeah.
But I do like you got a. I was going to talk about this later when we're talking about your new album, but it seems perfect to talk about it now. Is the song "One Foot" is the song that you have dedicated to your brother, and it talks about that one foot in front of the other, that one step at a time. That just seems like such a perfect message for this year. Just because everyone's kind of in that space now where everyone's just trying to just do the next thing. You can't make long-term plans anyway, but just do the next thing and just try and keep going forward. Tell me a little bit about that song. And there's kind of a bit of a theme through the album actually in this sort of this theme of one, isn't there?
Yep, man. I don't know how things sometimes come together. I don't know if you'd call it God or truth or energy or whatever you'd say, but it's that thing that's bigger than me, that's out there, that lines things up sometimes. And man, we wrote these songs back in 2018. A couple years back, I went to Los Angeles and worked with my friend Rick Seibold. He's a producer who does usually a lot of sync things like TV and film, and songs for movies and TV shows and stuff like that. And so truthfully, we were kind of aiming in that direction. But a couple years back, I kind of hit this new energy. I've been with my publisher since 2007. Next year would be my 14th year with them. And you go through these waves where sometimes you're really excited about things, and then sometimes you get a little bit whatever you'd call it, jaded or something. And I just hit this new wave probably 3 years ago where I just got really before I was looking at songwriting and just kind of maybe my general outlook of life is thinking of things I didn't like first and then stripping those things away. So somebody would come in with an idea or something, I'd be like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I think this could be better. And a couple years back, I don't know what happened, I just kind of shifted my gears and started looking at the opposite way of just what do I like? What's the little piece of, even if it's somebody comes in with an idea that I don't like most of it, but maybe there's one chord they played that I liked or something, you know what I mean? I can just say that rather than all the something negative. And so it really kind of shifted me. And so I came in when we were writing those songs, and just had kind of that like on my mind, and I just was so passionate and wanted to feel everything we were writing about. And so I don't know, I kind of don't know why one was such a constant in so many of the songs we wrote about it. Like I was putting the titles together, honestly, like whenever I was about to release the album, and I was like, wow, there's like 3 or 4 direct titles that have one in the title. And I don't mind it, man. Some people I think would be like, ooh, is that okay? I don't know if that's all right to do or not. And for me, I say, if it's real for you, do it. Like there's no rules. There's nobody out here watching my back, you know?
Well, I think in recent years there's been a massive push to heighten awareness of mental health issues and addiction issues and people's personal struggles in general. And
Yeah,
anybody who's been through any of that kind of stuff, I have myself, and is
absolutely.
it's that one day at a time thing, that one step at a time, and breaking down big problems into small chunks. So it's such a brilliant message to put across, and it feels like the 2020 has just basically been the unnecessarily large kind of light being shone on
Predge.
that yeah, it's been that sort of, it's just shone a massive light onto that being something that is a really great message. You've released a lot of singles this year. I've seen, looking at the amount of music you've released in the last few years. What's been the reaction to the music so far, and that has that message been picked up by people?
Yeah, people gravitate definitely towards that. Like sometimes as an artist, it's like I mean, there's a thing of, I write songs that I love, and I want to write songs that people love. Like I want to find that space between where I can communicate what I want to say, and be very honest and real, but also say it in a way that people can understand it, or there isn't a way that they would say it so that they feel that emotion too and they can connect with it. And um, so I got lost in my train of thought. What was your question again?
Yeah, no, I was saying
I'm a
about
rabbit trail guy.
no, it's good. It was, but it's I mean, I like that idea, actually, the idea of communicating things in a much clearer way. I got very lost years ago when I was writing, and I got very lost in trying to get clever wordplay and trying to find
Yeah,
sort of hidden meanings and stuff, really hiding and I was like, why am I hiding what I want to say so much? Why not put it out there and make it clear? If the message is direct, if it's a positive message you want to put, why not make it direct?
that's what I was gonna say. So yeah, because it is that, like, and I think I realized I don't have to put it all in one song. I think you should have songs that are like that, because that's something that is that intrigues you and like interests you to like come up with that art form of clever wordplay and things like that. So you should be doing some songs like that. I should be doing like, but I think sometimes people get lost in that has to be everything. That's not
Yeah,
everything. There are lots of other people out there who would just like stay with me because you're all I need. Like they just want that very simple. Everyone can sing it. We all feel together, like, you know. So I don't know. So that's part of it, of releasing songs piece by piece this year, has kind of like been to kind of gauge the boundaries of like what do I feel, what is connecting with me, what is connecting with other people the most, so that I can kind of like pinpoint those things and grow everything I'm doing together. Like, so I can do what like people are responding to, but also what I love, because there's a lot of things that I feel like create. There's a lot of different styles and vibes that I like. The things that people seem to gravitate the most towards me are the more emotive, more piano driven, balladish, but maybe just emotion. Like sometimes I'll try things that are a little more pop, because I like pop music. So I'll try more tracks and drums and like cool produced vocals, and like I said, I enjoy that. And so I'm gonna put that stuff out. It's not gonna stop me from putting those songs out. But like those songs haven't quite garnered the like reaction that some of the other ones, like Pieces has been one that from this album that's really like had a really good reaction. And songs like One Foot in Front of the Other, like things like that have a little more of an emotional and like raw, real, honest kind of, you know, stance, seem to connect a little more, which is fine by me. I love writing those songs, you know.
well, but it's one thing that actually struck me, you sort of touched on it there, listening to your stuff, was the first album 2009 through to this album, and all the songs, all the singles and stuff between, is a sort of gradual sort of change in style, or kind of, there seems to be a sort of growing into having a more eclectic kind of, or allowing those more electronic or different ideas coming in as you've gone on. So first album was very much, it's a band, it's drums, it's guitars, it's kind of traditional band.
Yep.
And then the next two albums seemed to, you had elements of electronic production ideas coming in. It sort of seems like you just sort of slowly got into that hot bath bit by bit, you know. It's like now, and you've sort of ended up, and I love the fact that this year there's so many different styles, you're doing collaborations, doing different things.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about that journey and what that was like. That obviously you're discovering new things as you're going through those 11 years or so. Tell us a little bit about that.
So when I started, it was just come to Nashville and be a writer, figure out how to write good songs, and then grow from there. I really had no plan. I was just kind of shooting from the hip when I came out here. I was 18 when I moved to Nashville. And so I just started writing, and then I met my publisher, and I ended up signing with them when I was 20, I believe. And it's the same publisher. It's Curb Word. I've been with them for almost 14 years now. And so man, I keep losing my train of thought. Sorry. It's
sorry.
I woke up
said
early.
You were just yeah, you know, you were saying you just you moved there and you took, so I was watching about the sort of the sound changes and that journey.
Oh yeah, the sound change. I get going on these rabbit trails, man, and then I just start like following in my mind. That's how I write songs, you know. And so then I'm like, okay, well, we'll talk about this for a second. And then I get lost. Talking
about, I am the king of the tangents, so don't worry about that. Never apologize for that. You're in good company here.
I've gotten okay with it. I'm comfortable with it. If I get lost, I just ask for help and get directions, and then we get back to it. But so when I first came, it was just that I was just writing songs on the piano, and it was just me, myself, and I, and then I started collaborating with other people, and so then we were writing other songs, and so then it was just a natural thing. And back in those days, like 2009, it was less electronic, like produced kind of music anyway. It was still pretty organic back then, and so I just started doing stuff how it was. I started working with some producers, and we just did it and kind of collaborated on things, and it was more organic. And so then we started doing some sync placements and had some TV film spots and stuff like that. And
they had the Vampire Diaries. You had the song Down, didn't it? That was the sort of the big one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that kind of like set it off a bit. And man, in that time I was so young, like and didn't really know what I was doing at all. And so we put it out, and I recorded that song in my bedroom at home. It's literally one piano track and one acoustic guitar track, and then me and my friend Molly's vocals. That's like, it's so simple. I think I paid $500 to get it mixed, and that was it. And so then that was like the extra song that we added on to this EP that I was doing. We'd spent like actual money on the EP. And then I was like, well, I got this extra song down, you know, I want to, and they're like, oh, let's just add it on to the EP. And so we did. And that one just connected, man. Like, I don't know. That's what I said. Like, sometimes there's stuff where you're like, you just write a song and put it out, and you're like, I didn't expect that to be a connector. That was just something real. And truthfully, it was the first song me and my friend Molly had written together. And it was the first year of our publishing deal. She had signed a publishing deal that year, and I'd signed a publishing deal. We were both 20. She's a little older. She was 22 or 23. And so she's a very bright, bubbly, happy person. And it's hilarious that we wrote that song first, because it's just sad. But I don't know, we just put it out. And so, man, like then after that, I did another album that was still very organic and had the song Echo and some other things that got placed on it. And then it was just kind of a wandering path. Like I said, I never had an idea of what I was doing. I joined a band like that was in town for a while, and like followed that path for a while. And so then there was like a gap in when I was releasing music, and I was just kind of putting singles out. And a couple years back, I started doing top lines, like DJ, EDM, kind of like feature stuff. And it was probably 6 years ago at this point. My buddy Kip came in and was like, man, we're going to do this. It's called a top line. We just write the melody and the words, and we'll do a little piano track. You sing the vocals, we ship it off, and we're going to work with a DJ on it. And I'm like, okay, I've never done this. I'm a singer-songwriter.
What was that like? What was that like? I've never sort of gone down that road.
It was so fun for me, because I'm a songwriter, less of like a pop producer, you know. And so it was but I love pop music, like I said. So it was a cool, fun way for me to just like write a song that was still like a song, but fits in a space where like an arena where people can feel it and sing it, or a club or something. And so we wrote this song, and this DJ in Switzerland, DJ Antoine, picked it up. It's cut us a check in like a couple weeks, and I was like, dude, I'm in on this. I like this game, you know? And so I think that unlocked some of that track stuff and that pop like side, because then I was like, man, this is kind of fun. Like, how do I blend the balance here? Because I like some of this, not just electronic, but just like pop production. So then I was following that road for a while, and I ended up doing, my publisher was pitching and like getting a bunch of relationships in that world. And I wrote this song that he pitched to Kygo, and Kygo ended up picking it up, and then had like keeping my vocals on it. And then he asked me to come out and sing on the Kids in Love tour that he had. And so I did like 10 dates out in Europe, or 15 out in Europe and 10 in America or something like that. And it was incredible. And so like that again was like another little step into this, like, okay, this isn't what I expected in life or what I was like thinking I was headed towards. But like now, then when I got back from that, it was like, how do I blend these a little more? And because it really was inspiring to write songs or hear songs that were like, from Kygo at least, he's a little more of an emotional like EDM artist like that. Like, and so I'm watching people literally, it's like being at church almost at some of his shows, where people are like eyes closed and hands up, and like just feeling energy and feeling love and feeling, you know, what connected to 10,000 people. And so I kind of started feeling like, how do I write songs that are for me, like, and not a dance song, but like that can still connect with people in this way. And so I think that's kind of that's the route I've been trying to, like, with some of the pop sensibilities lately. I've been just trying to find that space of like, how do I write stuff that is me, but connects with, not in a success way, just in a way of like a responsibility. Like, I feel like there's those songs that people need to hear and that like connect us in a great way that are bigger than any of us. And so if I can be like a little tool that like helps something like that exist, I'm like, I feel like I got to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's why there was two things that sort of came out that I was thinking I wanted to ask. One is, when you started doing that top line writing, did you start then writing especially for that? And I mean, how did it change? Did you find it was different from writing the whole song yourself, or how did you approach the writing for that in a different way?
Not really, especially. It's kind of like you just don't, I'm not thinking as much about the production as I am the song, the moment, the theme of what it's trying to say. And like, it's honestly I feel like melody driven. Like, you got to have this melody that is just, it's like the melody and the lyric, you know, because the production can be a lot of things, like, and it will be a lot of things, because if it's a big song, then like 25 people are going to remix it and do different chords and different like ways that it would sound, tempos and all that. So it just needs to be a dynamite melody and a dynamite like hook. And it could be simple, it could be weird, like, but so it just like, so I just try to think of it that way. And so as opposed to when I'm like writing something for myself, I'm thinking a little more of the whole scope of like, man, this song would fill this space on my record, or this is like I want to write a sad song today that's like this, you know. For writing for the top line space is a little more like, dude, you could write a sad song even. Like, there was that big Posner song, all I know is sad songs, but that feels so good to sing together with like 100,000 people, you know. So it's finding that way that's like, man, how do I sing? It's writing something that's not just for me, is what I've noticed. It's like that I'm just like, oh, I think this sounds okay. It's more like, hey, would I want to like lift my head and sing this with everyone in the room right now? And would everyone want to sing that with me? And if the answer is no, then that's just not, and that doesn't mean it's a bad song. It's just like, if I'm aiming for something that's going to fill that space, I think I need to be thinking of those things, you know?
So it was a slightly different headspace and slightly different approach to that. And did you find that was kind of a certain amount of freedom? I mean, I only say that because
no, you got
a couple of years back, I left the band I'd been in for 15 years or so, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just wanted to kind of write songs, and I had no project to write for. I had no album, no nothing. I then subsequently signed a deal, and it was fine. But when I started writing those songs, I thought I might write them for someone else. They're not for me, these songs.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I just unlocked all this stuff that I didn't know was in there, because I could give myself some freedom to do it. Was there a kind of freedom that it wasn't necessarily attached to you? These songs you weren't going to be releasing these.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Because it's more of an us, not me kind of situation, you know, is the way to approach those songs, which is freeing. And so it's less about like showing something to somebody and saying, being like, is this good? It like, I feel like you kind of just know if everyone's going to feel this, you know, like it's a different kind of song and a different kind of headspace than if I'm writing something that's pouring my heart out to somebody. You know, like that's a different kind of song. And honestly, there are the outliers. There are the songs that like cross over and are like the ones that are very personal, that like become a big dance hit, or a dance hit that someone slows down and makes a weird like. So I think there are those outliers that happen. It's just like, I don't think that's what you can expect almost. You know what I mean? Like that's like playing the lottery. And so for the most part, like I'm trying to just think of like both sides of the equation at once,
trying to just I suppose just to kind of enjoy the process of just creating that thing and then putting it out there and just waiting. It must be a weird thing to sort of put it out there and sort of wait to hear what comes back.
Yeah, just like, but honestly, it's such a crazy time too, because there's so much, and it's so uninspiring to talk about, like, or to think about when you're writing or something, but there is so much data now. There's so much resources that we have to know, like I can go into my Spotify account and see exactly where in the world people are listening, who's listening, how many people are listening here, where
what
the
age they are, and all that, you know, that stuff.
So then that translates into like when you're planning a tour or you're routing shows, then you're like, okay, well, this city is a good city to go to. This city is a good city. And it's like, and so those are things that people didn't have 10 years, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? And so in a lot of ways, I'm like, that's such a crazy, cool resource that we have. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think there's both sides of the technology and everything. Like there's some ways that, like I said, that's uninspiring and it's not really fun to think about those things, but it's so helpful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to ask you about was when you talked about trying to blend the two things, the sort of what you'd been doing and then the new EDM kind of thing. I was going to ask you, what was the thing you learned the most from it that you adapted, that you brought back from it? I know you spoke about the idea of that connection, like bringing the audience on a kind of a journey kind of thing and getting them, do you know what I mean? That kind of take them on a journey. But I mean, was there any other things that you learned from that experience?
There's like little, just silly, songwriting things that I feel like I noticed of, like I would go up and I would sing my song, and then it was just one song a night, and so then there was 5 other artists that were singing their songs as well, and so then I would watch them, you know, do their thing and just watch the rest of the concert, see what the crowd's responding to. It was like such a learning experience. I'd never sang in an arena before, really, like at least like being a front man. Like I'd played with some bands before, but I was like tucked behind, and this one was the first literal time I'd ever had to just walk out. I'm a piano player and I always play piano and sing at the same time. And I'd never in my life walked out with just a microphone and had to just sing.
What did you do?
So the first day was in Helsinki for Finland for 5,000 people. And like, there's 2 big catwalks, and like I got to go walk over here and I got to go walk over here, and I was like trying to figure out how to not walk on beat because I kept wanting to walk on beat. And I put my hand in my pocket, like my hoodie pocket, the whole time. I kept like rolling around the stage, and my manager's like, dude, you sounded really great, but like get your hand out of your pocket, do anything else with that pocket, man.
It's hard to wheel a piano around up the catwalks and stuff, isn't it? I suppose.
Yep.
So you go.
No, I like one little like silly songwriting tip would be like, or not tip, but like I noticed there was a bunch of songs that like had these lead-ins, you know, like instead of like a chorus where it's like, boom, here's the chorus chord first, and then or like the vocals come in. It was always this like da 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 da, like there was this like, here you go guys, like here's the chorus coming in right now. Not on every song was that, but like I noticed there was a bunch of those, and I was like, like I feel like there's just those things that are like I said, are uninspiring, but you're like, it just is like caveman brain kind of stuff that like people will follow if you give them a direction to walk towards, you know.
But it's good to get those sort of songwriting, because obviously every genre has a different kind of a thing that, you know, there must have little quirks to each different genre. So must be really, really interesting as a writer to kind of start to understand that world a bit more, because it's obviously, you kind of hear these songs if you're in a club, if you ever go out into a pub or a club and you hear songs. And for me, you know, always been interested in acoustic music, and it's never been a world that I've really explored, but I can imagine it must be fascinating once you get into it. I mean, you're not short of a hook or two in your songs. I mean, must have had a bit of an advantage, because you've always written hooks in your songs, haven't you? It's one of the things that you've always found. Is that something you found easy? Or
I love, man, the further I get into it, the things I've realized that I love are pieces of things. Like I love working with pieces, and I love just being honest and saying the real thoughts that I have. I wouldn't consider myself like an incredible lyricist by any stretch. Like, I'm not really a poet. Like, I can't really, like you said, like coming up with those clever turns of phrases or things. I don't even know if I could do that to save my life. Like, I can't think of those like super clever things, but I love collaborating with people who do. And then I feel like I can hear a hook or hear the ways that these pieces can go together and fit. And I feel like I'm good with melodies and those kind of things. And so that all goes together to where I can, if somebody says a line to me, sometimes it'll be just literally a word, like help. I have this new song coming out with these guys. And my co-writer was just like, oh, I got this title, Help, which is just a straight title. And I was like, oh, what if it's this? And I heard something in my head. And so I don't know. I feel like I got to have somebody else a lot of times that like put something in my brain, and then I can like carry that baton and keep running with it.
I mean, it's just about making a connection, I suppose, and music
with
is
the
about
right person.
connection. Yeah, absolutely. But tell us a little bit about Echo. You mentioned Echo earlier on. That was a big sort of connection, big hit for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was another good one that just felt really honest. I wrote that one with a writer here in town she's like a big country writer named Nicole Gallion. And that was early on again in both of our careers. And we wrote it over at Warner Chapel here in Nashville. Like, they had this grand piano room in one of their writer rooms, and there was this big cutout of Liberace right behind it, like a full life-size cutout of Liberace, the singer. And it had big like hairy thighs sticking out of it. And so I would lean back and like rub his Liberace thighs and then get inspiration. And so that's pretty much how that song came together. I started playing some chords on the piano, and like I just started like echo. Like sometimes, like I said, a thing comes out, and then Nicole started saying lines, and songs like that and Down both just kind of like fell out. Like I feel like it was almost like they were already like on this wave above us, and we were just pulling down like lines from the thing. And it like truly just
it seems like one of those sorry. Seems like one of those songs that once you get that echo thing going, then it sort of unlocks the rest of the song in a lot of ways. You've got that sort of like such a simple thing, but it just works. It just bang. You get that. And that's kind of how it works. Well, you must be really excited, thinking, okay, I'm in here. This is I know how to do the rest of this.
Yeah, it was exactly 100%. You nailed it. I remember that day, and it felt 100% like that. We probably wrote it in an hour or an hour and a half. Like it just, because like you said, once you find that first little piece, not all songs are like that, because sometimes it feels like you're working from them backwards. You're like you're asking the question first, and you're not getting the answer. But like that one was just that was the key, and like almost showed you the blueprint for the whole song. You're like, once you saw that, you're like, okay, here's the blueprint. So then we just got to like write this thing and not mess it up. And So then I had my buddy who I was touring with at the time, Josh Heiner, produce it with me, and he played drums and went deep into the tank, and just, man, made it sound really, really great. And that one, again, we had a spot on Vampire Diaries for that one, which connected really well with people. And that one we had on this show called One Tree Hill as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was a fun time of music. I'm honestly thinking that this next project that I make is kind of going to throw back a little to that. I really just want to go very organic with it. It's like I said, it's at first I was going to do just maybe 5 songs or something, but I already have 5 songs that I've written and I want to write some more. And so it'll probably be a full album of like 10 songs of just, I may even call it just loss, where it's just dealing with loss, dealing with grief, unexpected turns in your life that, you never expected and hurt like hell, but you've got to get through now. Like a lot of the ways I've said it is like, my brother was like such a huge piece of my life, like of this pie of my life. And now it's like a reconfiguration of like, where do you put that energy? Where do you put that time and emotion? And there's just all these questions and thoughts in your head. And so I think I'm gonna strip it back down and just get the real drums on this thing. I'll probably play a lot of things myself, but then I like to collaborate and work with some key people that I've worked with. But honestly, I may throw it back. I may go get some of the old musicians I played with on those records, at least the bass player.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a really special project, and I look forward to hearing it, because, I mean, it seems like you've got a great way of making that connection with the audience, and I just and this obviously it's something that's going to be very, very important to you, to your grief and everything you're going through right now, and the cathartic nature of music hopefully can help you to come to terms with what's happened, and wish you all the best with that. And I look forward to hearing it. Sounds like it's going to be something special.
Yeah, I'm gonna pour everything I got into it for sure. And it's going to be real and raw, and just it won't be a happy project, but it'll be, I feel like, necessary. So it's definitely one that's necessary for me, but I think I'm hoping to say some things that, like you said, sometimes people don't know how to put their thoughts into words, and I'm hoping maybe it connects with some people like that.
100%. Yeah. So what's they looking at? That's going to maybe is that going to start next year, or have you started it now?
I haven't really started recording it. I've got, like I said, probably 5 songs together at this point, and I think I'll probably put out in February-ish is what I'm thinking.
Okay, cool. Well, let us know. We'll keep in touch, and maybe we'll do a little update show, and you can tell us about how it went, because it's you're obviously right in the middle of it right now. You might have more perspective on it further down the line. I'm sure there'll be some surprises for you, and hopefully some positivity to come out of it anyway.
Yeah. Yep. Here's hoping.
Yeah. So just wanted to ask you about, we also asked for recommendation on the show. Of somebody maybe that we may not have heard, or somebody, or an actor or an artist that's been a particularly big influence on you. Whichever way you want to go with it is fine, but it's just a recommendation for music that people need to know. I was noticing the product placement here.
Run the Jewels, baby. Yeah, this is my mug. It's all about that pistol and fist. Probably my favorite group of all time. For some reason, I like to listen to music that I like on my own, like the stuff that would just inspire me is stuff that I would never write. I think I can't rap. I can't rap at all. And so I love this group, Run the Jewels. It's a white guy and a black guy, Killer Mike, and it's so
one
good.
sec,
it's
sorry.
the perfect blend. It's the tracks they make. LP makes the tracks, and it's like use a bunch of old record samples, and Killer Mike spits like a god, and it's so good. They've got 4 records out at this point. Go listen to Run the Jewels, man. But not very parent friendly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's not going to be replacing Baby Shark anytime soon.
All you need to know is to hear about those guys. So that's it.
Excellent. Well, we can put something. Maybe we'll put like the album cover on the front over it, so people can.
Yes,
or something
there
like
we go.
We'll
There's
work
always
it out.
a patch.
It's fantastic to chat to you, and it's I wish you all the best with the new project, and I wish all the send you love and strength and everything to to work through all the grief and things that you're working through. And I'm so sorry to hear about your loss. And but music is it's sent to us all to kind of give us something to put it all through, so we don't bottle it all up in there. So
Yeah.
I feel like you've it's going to be something really special, and it will certainly hopefully make a connection and make some people's lives a bit easier that maybe don't have the gift that you have. So so I know. Go,
Ronan, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. This was awesome. I had fun talking to you and hanging.
Really enjoyed it. Absolutely, really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. It's been brilliant. Jason Walker, thank you, mate. Take care.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.